Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Legacy Coderetreat Codecasts. Together we will talk about how to add features on legacy code. I wrote a couple of months ago this blog post about how you can do this, so please try to read it before seeing this codecast so that you'll understand better what I will be going to do. So let's see the code then. I have the same code base as in the previous editions, but this time I have this request of a new feature that as a trivia player I want to be able to save the game events to text file so that I can analyze my moves later. So I need to find a way to get all the outputs to a text file in order for the trivia player to see what they have answered or what they have done. And the problem is that I have all these system out print line statements that show this information to the console, but I cannot use this to show it to a text file. So we need to find out a way to extract this and then implement the text file output as well. But in order to do that, I want to make sure that before extracting, I create a safety net that makes my changes reliable. We have some tests from the first session, some system tests. So this is a safety net we already have. And let's try to run some coverage on these existing tests. So what do I have then? I can see that some places, here I can see the green bar, some places are covered already with tests, but some others are not, like this one. Here again I have tests, here I don't, here I don't, here I don't, here I have, and so on. So let's take the first case. Let's consider writing a test for this block of code. What we do? Well, we already have in place some helping methods from last time. So I'll write just an empty test, and let's see what can we do. First of all, we need to add a player. Let's call the player audio, and then I see that the player is in the penalty box. So how can I create this situation? Well, I have a method here at the bottom saying wrong answer, and when the player gives a wrong answer, then they will get into the penalty box. This thing. So let's do that. Let's say that Adi gave a wrong answer, and then I need to get this branch of code, so I need to give the row an odd number. So row with 3, let's say, and then I need to assert that something will be the output. I don't know what that something is because I'm just characterizing the existing system. So I need to steal this from the previous test, and this will give me the output of the console. So if I run this test, of course it will fail, but I can get all this output from here, paste here, and screen. So again, if I cover, I can see now that I have this part of the code covered as well with tests. So let's give a good name to this test, something like when in penalty box and rolling a dice, message about player and getting out of penalty box is written to out. So this should pass. So let's do commit then. Edit tests to cover roll method when in penalty box and rolling an odd dice. Good. So let's see what's the next part. The next part is trying to write a test for this thing. So it's the same thing as being in a penalty box, but now the dice needs to be even. So it should be something like this, but instead of doing roll of 3, I do roll of 2. And I don't know what's going to be. So let's see what the system tells us. Of course it fails. So Adi is not getting out of the penalty box this time. Let's try to cover it again. And it should pass through here. Happy. So let's give this thing, this test, a good name. It should be something like when in penalty box and rolling even dice, message about player and not getting out of penalty box is written to output. Let's see if it's okay. Okay, so we can commit again. Edit test to cover roll method when in penalty box and rolling even dice. So what's the next thing we need to cover? So we have this one, pop question, and we have this one, the sports question. So here we have two options. We can either make this one public and try to test it, or we can try to find a way to test these things without making it public. So finding how this ask question is called with this situation with pop. So if we look here in the bottom, we can see that there are some cases where I have science, sports, pop. So for pop, it's clear that I would need a dice that's 0, 4, or 8. So let's try to do that. Let's see if it's true, and we'll get coverage for that part. So let's write a new test where I'll get again the console output. I'm gonna add the player adding, and then I'm going to roll a 4. And assert equals something with the string from the console. Let's see what the system tells us. So it's pop, it's good. I'll run it again. And let's see now if I'm going to test coverage. Now the game has this part covered, so it's a good thing. I can do that after that as well in the same way. First of all, let's give this test a good name. Something like when rolling dice, number 4, a message about dice and player location and top category is returned to out. Okay, so let's commit. Edit test to cover name, ask question, method when category is pop. So I can do a bit the same, but with rolling something else for sports. So let's try to roll a 2 for sports. Now let me change the name of the test. When number 2 message about location and sports category different output. So okay. Okay. And here I need to change the text into 2. The category is sports question. Let's see, it's okay. Now I missed something. Of course, it should be 2 here as well. Good. So we have another test. Let's commit. Edit test cover ask question method when category is sports. I need to change this name as well. And I also have another test which does the same thing in a way, but it doesn't have that explicit name, and I would like to rename it well. So when rolling dice, message about dice and player location and category is written, but I need to say here rolling dice number 1, message about dice and player location, and of any category but science category is written to the output. So just to be explicit enough, you have some good test names. So I have this test now, I refactored it. Let's commit. Refactored test names be explicit with the categories. Good. So let's see what's next. I'll want to cover again. So let's from the start. This is good. This isn't used, so I don't care about it. This is green. Okay, so was correctly answered. I need to tackle this as well because I have here a system test fine. So what do I need to do? I need to be in penalty box and I need to get out of penalty box. So how do I get out of penalty box? Let's see then. So I get out of penalty box in this case. So I need to roll a 3 or something like that, an odd number. So let's try to write the test then. I'll steal again the console output from here. I need to add a player. And then I need to get into the penalty box, so I will call the wrong answer. I need to roll a 3 to get out of the penalty box. And then I need to do a game was correctly answered. So let's see. What will the system tell us when we try to characterize it? Run the tests. Let's steal its output. In the test, run it again. Passes. Let's cover. And let's see if it helped us. So yes, we have coverage on this part. It's good. Let's give it a good name. So something like when correctly answered and in penalty box and getting out of penalty box. Then something like message about correct message about correct answer and winning golden coins is written up. Right, because I want here a golden coin. So let's run it again. And I will commit test for was answered when, so in which case, in the case when I am getting out of penalty box. Good. So let's see what's the next step. I have here some code that isn't covered, but I don't care about it because I don't have system out print line in them, so I don't care about that. But I do care about this one here because I am in a penalty box. So no, I am not in a penalty box, but this isn't covered yet. So let's cover that as well. what do I need to do then? So I need to add again layer, add body. I will steal again the output. Then I need to do something like was correctly answered. And let's see if this will help us, right? Because it's not in penalty box, so it should go directly on this branch. So let's see, assert equals something string on the tests. So yes, it will pass here because I know the typo and the bug we solved last time, but we didn't keep that for this video. So let's see. Okay, it's good. Let's give it a good name. Something like when correctly answered, then only golden coins. Message is written to out. Try it again. Run it with cover. And yes, it's true. So we have this covered as well. So now everything's covered. I have this one. Think about this one. So let's commit them. Test 4 was correctly answered when winning golden coins. Now, you might have seen that I have these very big names of system tests, but this only shows that they are some kind of test that I will want to refactor at the point. And this is why I'm using these names with AND, so that I could understand what the basic functionality of the code is when calling it in this way. So one moment we'll refactor these tests, but now the production code isn't flexible enough, so we cannot do that, but I still want to document the code as it is. Okay, so now let's go on. What we can do now, after we build a safety net, is to try and see how to extract this thing without with having the tests already in place. So what I'm going to do is I will extract this one variable, called something like message, and I want to extract this to a method called console write line. Idea says it found out another fragment of this. I said yes, I want to replace all of them. So I have them replaced here. But still, Idea doesn't know how to replace others. So I need to work a bit on doing that manually. I have some places where it was replaced, some places where it wasn't. So I will want to do this again in the same way. Extract variable, current message, extract another method called console write line 2, I want all of them to be replaced. Yes, yes. And let's see. Where do I still have currencies of system out implying? Here, not here. So I have another one here. Again, extract variable, current category page. I will extract this to the method console write line 3. Yes, I want to replace all of them. What next? Nothing at the top. Let's take out these ones. So I want to extract this to a variable, but now this says that it wants an object. So it's clear that I want a string here. What I can do is pop message, and I want to change this to a string. Of course, it won't like this, so I need to add the string. And if I want all of them to be replaced, I'd like to add them to string as well. So let's extract this another method. 4. Okay. So what's next then? I still need to do this. Again, variable question incorrectly answered message. I will extract this to a method console write line 5, I think. I lost track of them. So where do I still have this? So I have it in only one place, and it's just here. So now what I can do is I can look at the other methods, like this one, and I can inline them. So all the methods like this can be inlined because they don't do anything but delegate. And console write line as well. So let's see. I want to have just one method that is doing console write line. And I think I only have one now. This console write line 5. So I will rename this console write line. Run the tests. All is good. I'd like to rename this to message. So let's give this one a commit. Added, extracted method console write line that encapsulates system out print line. Okay. So now I have this method, I'm closer to what I need to do. But still, what I'd like to do now is to understand how to write this thing to a text, right? So now what I will do is I will extract this to another class and try to inject it in a way. So now, the next thing to do is to try and move this. But yeah, first of all, I need to create a class, of course. So let's create a class called something like console output. Sorry. And let's try and move this. It says I need to make it static. First of all, yes, I will. And now I want to move it to console. So let's see if the code still works. Great. So extracted method console line class console. So now I have this one. The next thing I do is now I have enough room for the new feature. So this was the refactoring needed that it was important to do all these steps just to be able to get out the consoles from my code base. But now what I want to do next is to try and add the feature. So let's see again the feature. The feature is that as a trivia player I want to be able to save the game events in text file so that I can analyze my moves later. For that, I need to be able to inject some kind of other output, not just console output. So I can do something tricky. I will create a field console output that has the same name as the class, and I will want to create this in the constructor. Okay. Why? Because I want to remove the static word. I want to make it public, but not static. So if I do that by magic, to work. So I just remove the static, and now I have a instance, a class instance. I can rename this to be correct with not having a capital C. So let's commit again. Created field console output method game class. But it isn't enough, right? So the next step I want to do here, I want to extract an interface. And this interface basically needs to help me create the other type of output, the text output. Okay, so let's give this a good name. Something like and the idea is very smart now. It says, okay, you are using this console output in the game, but would you want to use it as the interface? And of course, I want to do that. and it will change my field here from console output to a game output. So if I look here now, I have game output, so I have the interface, but I still have initialization of game output. That's console output. So I created this interface, game output. Great. So now I can create a new class text output. Implement. Okay, so now I have this in place. Let's run the tests again, make sure everything's green. So now I can see how this will work. For this thing to work, I want to add some tests, right? So I will create another class of testing called text out tests. And let's see, how should this work? I need to create a text output. And of course, I need to call something like this with a message, something like valid message, right? And I need to verify in a way that what it wrote was okay. But in order to do that, I should be able to give it a file name. So, say something like integration test.txt. I will need to change this to be a constructor. I'll create a field. So I give it a file name. I want to write something, and then in order to assert, I need to say, hey, this was the text I want, and let's see how I can read the text. So read the text. And I need to static import this, and I need to create this method. I will use files, source, video lines, path, char set, default characters. Let's see what the path is. So its path is file systems get default get path with file name, and I have tons of exceptions here, and I want to return, this would be a list of strings. This is lines. So I want to return just first line. Sorry. Let's see. So this would be the test showing that code is okay. If I run this, of course it says no such file, so I don't have a file. And let's see how can I implement this. I need to do something like files write. I need the path, and I need to say something like message as byte array. I need to create a variable. This should be byte array. And the variable path, that's path. And this is file systems by default get path from file name. And this one should be message get bytes. I need to add the exception, and this will create a lot of problems, but yeah, we'll see about that. Let's try to see if this works. So these are the problems. I need to add exceptions for each one of the calls. Try to do it fast. Because now I can write a text file as well. Okay, still have errors in the runner. What about that now? And the tests, of course. One more, I think. Nope. Okay. Good. So this test works well. I'm going to close all things we don't need. So I have this test saying that I can write something to a console, but the problem is that if I will run now this test like that, then it will still work. Why? Because the file still exists. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that this file, you can see it here, will be deleted at the beginning of the test. So for that I can do something like file systems files, delete if it exists, and I need the file name, so I need to move this here. Sorry, delete if it exists. Oh, I need the path. Sure. So I need to create the path, and the path is again file systems by default get path with file name. So in this way, I delete always file at the beginning. So what's the good name for this? Let's see, something like can write one row, one line of text file. Let's run it again. So I want to add the game output. So I don't want to add the integration test.txt. I can do a trick for that. Just do this. It will fail, but it will delete my file. So git status, added text output, and root first unit test. That works well. Good. So, in order not for this not to happen again, I can edit git ignore and add this name there so that it won't bother me again. Added text file configuration text. And I can remove the temp file. Good. So now I have this running. So let's write now another test for 2 lines. Can write 2 lines of text file. So it's almost the same as this one. But 2 lines. And I need to add exception, and I don't want to write once, I want to write twice. So this text should be like this here. Let's see if this works. It doesn't. I'm always keeping the second one. So for that, I need to go to here and say that I have some standard open options append, but this is only appending, so it won't create the file. But what I need to do is as well, if the file does not exist, then I will need to create it. Right path with open option with create new byte. Okay, so this isn't working. I have it actually like this. Why? Because I expect to have a new line here. I don't have it. So I need to do string message with new line message where I add new line, and I need to get the bytes from my line. And now I have a problem that I see only the first one, because in the test here I'm just getting the first one, the first line. So I want to iterate 2 line, and I want to get the text from all the lines. So it should be something like text classical line with line and return text. Okay. So the problem is that in the actual I have a new line here, but in the expected I don't. So yeah, this is fair. I should expect this. And it's failing, so yes, the first text I should expect a new line as well. Okay, so now I have this written. Let's commit. I want again to add it, ignore, add this thing. So, text output can write 2 lines of text. Okay, so this works now. Now what I need to do next is to be able to inject this into the existing game so that the player would be able to see that outputs into a text file. So in order to do that, what I need to do is I want to go here to game tests, and I want to be able to have this feature, but how can I know it works if I don't have tests? So I want to write a test, and let's take something like this one. So I have this test, and I want to have the output, but not as an output stream, but I want to get it as a text. So I will want to have a method like text. And this should read from some text file, but for that I need to be able to inject the output as a text. So I want to go to game, and I need to do something like this to create a setter. So if I don't use the default one, which is console output, I want to be able to use another type of game output. So I want to do game set game output new text output, and I need to give this one a file name, and this is system test. And I want to give the same one here, because it will need to know how to read the text. And basically what I want to do is to be able to read the texts as in this test. So I want to have a method that does the same thing as here. Let's even name it the same. So let's rename it to read text. Include an exception, and let's see what happens if I run this. Wow, amazing, it works. So I can really read from a text file. I can even show it to you that this message was written to a text file. So I have proof that my new feature works well and it was implemented. Now let's give this one a good name, something like when correctly answered, then call them points message is written to text file. But if I run it twice, I have a problem, right? Because I didn't delete the file. So again, I need to do the same thing as with this one. I need to delete the file if they exist. So I will take this code and it works. Run it again, it works. So it's predictable. So let's commit then. Again, I want to add the system test fixed here. Edit system test that output of the game when correctly answered and we code points is written to a text file. Point. Okay. So this is how you add a feature to legacy code. To remind you about the steps, what you do is you need to understand the feature you need to add. Then you build a safety net. We created a lot of system tests with coverage. It helped us a lot. Then, if needed, we add some tests, unit tests. In this case, we didn't have this option because we had only some console at the limit of the system, so we couldn't really create unit tests. Then we made room for the new feature. We extracted all the system out print line calls to a method, put it in an external class, extracted an interface from there, and from that moment we started adding a feature that was in fact writing to a text file. Now the next things I need to do are very simple. I want to run manually so that everything works, just as a precaution. So it works with the console, it still works. And I also want to refactor. So what should I refactor then? So I have the game output, I have the console output. Do I have tests that need to be renamed? Take care of that. So you always need to see if you should refactor things when you finish a change like this. Okay, so that was all in this session. I want to thank you for watching, and as always, have fun coding.